A warm welcome and good morning to Dr. Muhammad Yunus Yassin, President of Association of Science, Technology and Innovation ASTI, our main speaker, Dr. Nora Savage, Program Director of Engineering Directorate of National Science Foundation, our panelists, TS Dr. Umayo Munozami, founder of Say You Mind Network, Ms. Anushiya Krishnan, Executive Committee member of the National Association of Women Entrepreneurs of Malaysia, NAWEM, Dr. Mogana Darshini Gangaya, Data Scientist, Ms. Bharti Suresh, Consultant Pharmacist, our moderator, Dr. Mageswari Kunasegaran, Managing Director of SM3 Consulting, all the guests and audience of the webinar who are watching us via Zoom as well as YouTube Live. Thank you very much for joining us today for the webinar on the future of women in STEM, organized by Association of Science, Technology and Innovation ASTI and supported by US Embassy and NAWEM. My name is Fatia and I will be your host for today. So before we proceed further, here are some housekeeping rules throughout the session. Firstly, for audience in Zoom, kindly switch off your mic and video camera unless you are required to do so. Secondly, if you have any questions for the speaker, panelists, or related to our topic today, please leave the questions in the chat box in Zoom. And for the audience in YouTube Live, you may leave the questions in the comment box. If you need any assistance from the organizers, kindly let us know in the respective chat box. And lastly, kindly adjust your video layout to speaker view. Now moving forward, the webinar today will be focusing on the future of women in STEM. And as we are all aware, STEM is still seen as a male-dominated area. Although the enrollment of women in STEM subjects has improved over the years, their involvement in STEM-related careers still lags behind. This webinar hopes to start the conversation on some of these issues, including how to overcome these challenges, particularly in light of the fast-changing world post-COVID-19 and beyond. Without further ado, let me introduce our main speaker for today, Dr. Nora Savage. Dr. Savage served as a team leader for nanotechnology for the Office of Research and Development within the US Environmental Protection Agency. Dr. Savage currently serves as Program Director for the Nanoscale Interactions Program, housed within the Chemical, Bioengineering, Environmental and Transport Systems Division of the Engineering Directorate at the National Science Foundation. Her responsibilities include the management and coordination of technical scientific review panels and management of a grant portfolio of environmental nanotechnology research projects. Dr. Nora is one of the Foundation's representatives on the Nanoscale Science, Engineering and Technology and Subcommittee of the National Science and Technology Council that implements and coordinates activities and strategies of the National Nanotechnology Initiative, NNI. She has served as a representative for the NSEC since 2001, when she was employed by the US Environmental Protection Agency. Dr. Nora has worked for the US federal government for over 20 years. In this capacity, she has served the Environmental Nanotechnology and the General Environmental Engineering Research Committees through her contributions to strategic research direction. So now let's hear from Dr. Nora Savage. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, and thank you all for being here and listening to this great panel. We hope to stimulate and inspire you to enter careers in STEM. So next slide. I just want to give you an outline. The first thing I'd like to talk about is why. Why should you, as a female, why should women enter STEM? Then I'll talk a little bit about some potential STEM fields. I will go through, hopefully not too much and not to bore you, a few current statistics for women in STEM, specifically focusing on the US because that's the data that I have. Then I'll go through some potential careers, and then I will go through some conclusions for my talk. So next slide. Why STEM? So, too far. Go back. Okay, back one more. Sorry. If you go back one more slide, it shows Can you back it up one more slide? No, back. You're going, yeah, right there. Okay. So, okay, right there. So why STEM? So STEM, if you think of STEM as a stem that supports a flower, it's supporting flowering innovation, supporting new technologies that will enable us to improve quality of life. And next slide, if we don't diversify the field, we won't have a beautiful flower. We'll have a dead sort of field. It will stifle innovation. We won't have holistic solutions to the challenges that we're facing as a society. And it's just not going to be the best really situation to find ourselves in. So that's why we want to diversify the STEM field. Next slide. So now women in STEM. Why should women enter STEM? So to fulfill yourselves is one reason why you would want to do it. Do you like challenges? Do you like solving puzzles? Are you curious and do you always question why? Why is this happening? Why does this occur? Do you like chemistry and math? That's entering into a STEM field will enable you to fulfill yourself, will enable you to answer those questions. And when I say fulfillment, it's because you will now be able to do something that you love, that you enjoy. You love solving puzzles. You'll be able to do something that you enjoy while getting paid. That's fulfilling for you. Again, as I mentioned, we want to diversify the field because we want to spur and stimulate the field. We want to bring innovation faster. We want to innovate the technologies that we need to improve quality of life. And we can only do this with a diversified STEM. Bringing in new perspectives, again, will help us to diversify the field so that we can begin to solve the challenges, the wicked problems that we face as society, such as climate change, such as severe weather events, such as pandemics, with the best solutions, with the most sustainable, which by that I mean sustained solutions, and with the most holistic solutions. It will enable you to engage in critical conversations, again, to be present at the table as we begin to solve these problems, because if we don't have all of these perspectives at the table, we'll be missing pieces and we won't be innovating as much as we could be, and we won't be solving these solutions, these problems, as fast as we should be or we could be. And so again, engaging in these conversations is what we want you to do. Next slide. So now I'm going to hopefully not bore you too much, but to go through a few of the potential careers in STEM. And these are only a few of the careers. These are by no means the major careers. But first, let's talk about engineering. So within engineering, there's so many engineering disciplines: computer, industrial, mechanical, nuclear, agricultural, marine, metallurgical. Engineering field is wide, diverse, and bioengineering, you can do a lot of things with engineering. Then there's also chemistry, physics, computer or information technology, mathematics, biology. And within each of these sort of fields, there's multiple sub-disciplines. And as you move from undergrad to graduate, you have the ability to focus on the area that you love, that you're interested in, that really makes your eyes sparkle, that makes your heart beat. What really excites you as a scientist or as a researcher, you will be able to focus on those areas. And I encourage you as you are undergrad students now to seek out those opportunities to do interns, whether it be in a lab or at a company, so that you can see the day-to-day goings on, how you fit within that climate of that job, of that position, and whether it's something that you really find that you enjoy. Next slide. So the next slide now is just a little bit of demographic information. This is a pie chart, and again, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk mostly about US because those are the stats that I have. So these are the current demographics stats, and you can see the largest population within the US now is white women and white men, which is the light and dark blue on the left. Next, it's the lighter blue and orange are Hispanic men and women. And then the smaller one is the fuchsia dark blue, and that's African American men and women. And so we, within the US, this
pie chart does not represent the US demographics. And so we're really trying to at least attain to the point where we have the demographics and STEM fields that we have in our population. Next slide. The next slide is another data slide that's going to talk about, and this is just, it's a little hard to read, but it's showing some statistics. Again, these are only the current statistics that we have within the US that look at women in science and engineering jobs. So you can see that social science,
the red line at the top is social science, and that those are the highest numbers of women in those jobs. But when you combine those with engineering, that second line, that's what the second line shows, that it lowers it because engineering is so low. And engineering is actually that lowest line. So again, engineering right now within the US has some of the lowest stats for women, which is something that we are definitely desperate to change. Again, to bring that innovation, to bring those diverse perspectives to the table. Next slide. So now again, you can see that social scientists within this slide also still has the highest percentages, because apparently, you know, we have a lot of women.
and I think it's a consequence of social science being behavioral science, and also it's less, I think there's less problematics with women entering those fields. The obstacles are not as great. So you can see that top line again is social science. And we have below that, we have the engineering. And again, what we have for engineering is, again, lowest. The lowest percentages, which is the dot below. And these stats are from 1970 to 2019. And this is from the US Census data, and it's employment data. So again, engineering is showing up as our lowest numbers, which is something that just we cannot keep maintaining. We have to change that that story. Next slide. Now within this slide, and just bear with me, I have a few more slides that are, you know, a little tedious that I'm going to go through, but just to give you again an idea of some of the stats within
Nora?
the US. So
Sorry.
let me show you how to read this slide. The bar charts are the numbers, and you're going to look to those onto the left side, and the dots are just the percentages. So if you, this is a comparison of women in STEM from 2003 to 2017. So again, the bar charts are numbers, and they look to the left, and they're in the thousands. And the circles are the percent share of the total within the population. So you can see the lowest now is physical science, which is math and physics, which is just under 100,000 to start with. And then it went from just under 100 to just over 100,000. And the percent share in the population is about 30% now for women. But still again, now engineering is the second lowest here. It went from, for these periods, 2003 to 2007, almost 200,000 to almost 300,000, and it's got about a 10% share of all engineers. So women comprise about a 10% share of engineers. The highest is computer science, which went from 600,000 to almost 900,000, and it has a 30% share. Women have a 30% share of that demographic. And psychology and social science went from, in the same period, 300,000 to 400,000, which is about a 60% share of that group, of the group in computer science. So women make up about that percentage, 60%. So that's pretty good for computer science. Next slide. Now this slide is just, we all want to be number one. So this is, the US, we're always taking a sort of toll of where we are in terms of a variety of things. Sports is just one of them, but this one is showing scores, math and science scores. For certain countries, the US being one, the US is that dark blue line in the middle. And as you can see, we're not doing that well, but we're not doing that badly either. The top scores are in Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. And again, the US is near the lower middle half. So it's just taking scores in math and science for students entering college from certain countries. Next slide. So now this slide is going to talk about the numbers of women who are entering into, who are getting engineering degrees. So this is going to be a little bit more, I think, of interest to you. So the first one, and the period is from 1998. They're 10-year periods, 1998, 2008, and
Hi, Dr.
2018.
Nora.
So
Dr. Nora, sorry to stop you.
yes,
We are hearing some echo from your audio. So could you connect, are you using the microphone, headphone?
oh, you can, okay, hold on, I'm sorry, wait a minute, let me just, it might be just my computer, hold on, okay.
Yeah, there is some echo is disturbing from your background.
Oh, and you hear my computer echoing, okay, hold on, sorry about that, let me go back and try to turn that off, hold on, I'll have to then turn off my, hold on, let me turn my webcam off, okay, hopefully that'll, okay, sorry about that.
This is better.
Okay, all right, sorry, that's my government computer. So now, again, this is in 10-year increments. So 2008, 2018, 1998, 2008, and 2018. The top tier are women receiving doctoral degrees in engineering. The middle is master's, and the lower set are undergrads. And as you can see, there are very few, and on the right is the percent, so you can look to the numbers on the right for percentages, and then on the left is the numbers of women. And I actually see my numbers on here in my not in this slide, but you can see how low the numbers are for women getting doctoral degrees in engineering from all of these periods, but it's increasing. So you can see, and looking at the top, the dark blue again is 1998. Then you go below that for the green for 2018, and then the teal shows us the green shows us 2008, and the teal shows us 2018. So you see it's slowly increasing, but it's by no means increasing sufficiently to meet the demographics that we really want to meet. And the same is true for bachelor's. Undergraduates is a little better. As you can see, the numbers are higher, and as well as the percentages. Next slide. This is showing what is expected for jobs within the period of 2019 to 2029. And they're expecting, now this is of course projections, but they're expecting, say, for example, you can see the computer field to get about an 8% increase in jobs. So this is telling you that, and that may seem low, but really it's a lot when you think of the thousands of jobs in the computer fields. So what this graph is showing us is that there are potential places for you as you enter these careers and as you enter these fields within the next decade. Next slide. So now we're talking about the next, there's something from us. Okay, the next generation. So why should you, what is your role? You're the next generation. You are, when I say next generation, I am old, so I am like the old generation, but you're the next generation. So what is your role in this, and so helping us innovate, helping us move this field forward? First, we want you to march resolutely down into the STEM fields. Don't let someone tell you you can't do it. Don't let someone tell you you're not smart enough. You march resolutely. If you like answering the question of why, if you like solving puzzles, then we want you to go forward and do that. We want you to be mindful of that generation coming behind you. What does that mean? as you walk that path, keep in mind as you see obstacles and things, push those out of the way so that, and try to bring people behind you with, with that next generation, so that as we bring more people in, we can widen that path and it won't be so narrow and there won't be so many obstacles in our way. What is another part of your role? Another part is to make sure that you're prepared for the challenges that you'll face and the obstacles, because every field and every job is going to have challenges and obstacles. Some are intentional. By intentional, I mean there will be some people who say, you don't belong here. We don't want you here. And there'll be unintentional, which is just a consequence of where you are at the time you are and what the job is that places that obstacle in your way. But nevertheless, be prepared for them. We want you to make sure that you bring your perspectives to the table, because as I said, if we don't have all those perspectives, we won't get the right solutions. We won't get the sustained solutions. We won't get holistic solutions to solve these problems that we face as a global society. And then finally, be ready to speak your truth. Don't let people silence you. You're in a room full of men and you have a different opinion, speak it out, because often that truth, that perspective, that input will be what moves that solution forward. I'm telling you, it will be. And so don't be afraid to speak your truth. Next slide. So what is like the older generation or my generation, what is our role? So our role is really to keep those doors open, to make sure that we enable as much as we can for you to have a smooth path going forward. We want to make sure that as many obstacles that we went through, for example, that those are minimized or gone. So that's what we're trying to do, and that we at least prepare you and talk to you and mentor you and guide you to meet those challenges and to meet those obstacles and to deal with them. Our role is also to bring our experiences to light. And in doing so, we can help you to see that you're not the only one going through this. Everyone goes through these kind of problems and issues. When I was in grad school, I didn't do well on the exam. I went to the professor because I didn't understand. I thought I had done well. I talked to other students after the exam and I thought I did pretty well. And he started asking me what were my grades in high school and what were my GRE scores, which is a test you take to go to college. I don't know if you have the same type of test. He asked me what was I doing in my other classes, which I was getting A's in. I thought, what does all this have to do with this test right here? And then he said to me, don't you think you're doing well enough for a female minority? And I thought, what? And I was so angry that I almost let him derail me, because I would have, probably tried to hit him or something, but I wouldn't have done anything really serious. But then I would have been in jail and I would have, you could lose your way, you could lose your path. And even that anger can make you lose your focus. And so I just walked away and came another day to speak with him. So talk to other people, learn their experiences, because what you're going through, chances are someone else has gone through and they can help you navigate through that solution. And finally, we should be ready to stand with this generation, this next generation, to help them fight those battles, to help them meet those obstacles and remove them, and to help them succeed. Next slide. Oh, next slide. Okay, thanks. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but I did want to give you an idea, because sometimes there are careers that people don't think about when they think about science or when they think about STEM fields. But you can be an art restorer, for example, at a museum. You can be an oceanographer. You can be an anthropologist. You can be an astronaut. You can be an oceanographer. You can be a forensic scientist. I mean, there's no end to the type of job you can do with a STEM background. You can be a journalist major. You can be a newspaper writer, a news reporter. So you can cover the science aspects of the news. So there's no end. The field is wide open. It's only your imagination that will limit you in terms of the types of jobs that you can have and that you can do with a STEM background. Next slide. So to discuss the conclusions is first to decide upon what you want to do by taking stock of really what you like. Do you like to answer the question why? Don't let people tell you it's too hard. Don't let someone say you're not smart enough. Do you like solving puzzles? Do you like asking why all the time and finding out the underlying reasons for why something is the way it is? That is what science, that is what engineering, that is what STEM is all about. So decide upon what your career is, then identify the necessary resources that you will need to make it. That will include what type of education that you want to have. Do you want to have a bachelor's only? Do you want to go for the doctorate? The doctorate really just gives you more flexibility. It gives you a chance to do more with your degree than, generally speaking, and this is not always true because you can do a lot with a bachelor's as well. You want to make sure that you have the training that you need, that you have identified the necessary resources, which include time and money. And then you want to make sure that mentors in any field that you're entering in, try to identify someone that has gone through that field, that is in that field, who can serve as a mentor and a guide so that you have someone who can help you navigate that path. That's really important because it can save so much time and so much heartache if you have that mentor beside you. You want to make sure that you're prepared mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that's for any job. I'm not saying this because engineering or science or STEM is hard. It's because you want to make sure that you are set in a position mentally, physically, spiritually, because you're going to encounter people who don't want you to be there, not because it's hard, because they just want to keep it to themselves. Despite the fact that they know that diversifying this field will help change the conversation, will help change the solutions, will help get us to innovations faster. So that's what you have to make sure that you prepare yourself for. And then remember, again, as I said, you are not alone. There are people who have gone before you. We're here, we're ready to help you, and reach out to us. As you see people give talks, as you encounter people through your education, reach out to them and ask them questions. Ask them if they know about potential internships. Ask them if they have guidance for a particular question you might have. Don't be afraid to reach out. We're here and we want to help you. Next slide. And that's all my presentation. I just like to, I guess we'll take questions at the end, but thank you for your attention. And again, we look forward to seeing your faces, your shining faces, and increasing diversity and having more women involved in STEM with that perspective that can help us really advance the science and really innovate technology much faster when we have those different perspectives, cultural, different sexes involved, different people from different countries, different socioeconomic backgrounds, everything at the table. We will win when we have those perspectives there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the comprehensive and insightful sharing, Doctor. I believe many of us have become more inspired after hearing your sharing. And also thank you for letting us know that we are not alone and have the senior generation that are willing to help us. Now we will open for question and answer session, but the question and answer session will be after all the discussion and sharing by the panelists. However, meanwhile, I request the audience to drop the questions in the chat box. Moving on next, I would like to introduce our first panelist, TS Dr. Umayo Munozami. Dr. Umayo Munozami is a plant scientist by profession, a writer, and a science communicator by passion. Dr. Umayo has spent many years of writing in journals, proceedings, books, book chapters, online articles, and scientific display at Science Art Gallery. Dr. Umayo is an affiliate member of Young Scientists Network under the Academy Science Malaysia. Dr. Umayo was listed as a future leader from 100 countries by the Global Solutions of World Summit Forum for her contribution in creating awareness on Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. Now let's hear from Dr. Umayo Munozami. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Fatiha, for the introduction. I'm really glad to meet all of you virtually today. Okay, before going into my presentation, I feel that it's not too late to wish all of you here Happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science. We celebrated this event yesterday, February 11. Okay, so by now, I know all of you know what is STEM actually stands for. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And probably in each country, all our politicians, educated, and also our parents wanted the young people to be part in STEM. Learn science, study science, remember your science fact. Why? Why they always say that? Because they want to present their country, their family members as a global innovator. By doing that, we can actually build a future, a sustainable future. Today, the reason we are today is to identify 3 main points, which I will elaborate in a few minutes time. Why we want to get them, the women and girls, to consider career in STEM, and how to get our girls into STEM, how to encourage them, and what are the steps to become a successful person or professional in STEM career. Okay, so why we want to get our girls to consider career in STEM? Literally, through STEM, actually, we can develop skills such as creative thinking, ability to inquire, to ask questions. We will naturally develop our design thinking skill. We can able to collaborate, because if you want to do research in science, you can't do it alone. You have to get into team. You have to get people with same mindset to work with you to achieve your goal. You can able to communicate. You need to learn to communicate, because you need to actually present your scientific fact, your scientific finding to a various type of people out there. There might be people without science background. How are you going to talk about your science fact to them? And through STEM, you will also develop your deep thinking knowledge. Other than that, those who actually consider a career in STEM, or want to get them into STEM, you will be highly marketable, because employer love science-based student, science-based graduate. Okay, you can even work towards cross market, cross sector. Like for example, when you listen to my biography that was mentioned earlier, I am a plant scientist, I am a science communicator, and currently I'm stepping into something new, interesting task, which is a producer, producing scientific-based program as well as a social science-based program to professional out there in Malaysia. Therefore, those who actually learn STEM, you have more jobs in the future. You can jump here, you can jump there, okay? And of course, those in science, you will get a bit better salary, you see? And only in STEM career, you will see a lesser salary gap between men and women. And since there's a very small number, I'm glad that according to the data was given by Dr. Nora, Asian men and Asian women, we stand equally 3% of the person who are really, the number of percentage that are really involved in science. I'm glad to see that data. And there's a less competition in STEM career, okay? So how do we get our girls into STEM? Okay, we can't just ask them to study science. Please study science. Please enroll in our science stream. We can't say that. But only through education, by encouraging them, we don't force them, but we encourage them to choose the science-based program. Because if you didn't choose science-based program, it's a little bit hard for you to really evolve in STEM career, okay? So you can choose whether it's engineering, technology, electronic, or any subjects from either soft science or hard science, okay? And the salary that I was talking is always based on the level of certificate that you have. If you have certificate, probably you have a lesser salary according to current situation. But in the same field, if you have a PhD or you have a master, you might earn a little bit more than those candidates that comes with certificates. Okay. So there's more than that PhD. You can also enroll in professional courses. If there's an audience in the YouTube live, if you are already have a PhD, probably you may think, okay, what else I can study? Okay. So probably if you have a PhD, you can sign up for any professional courses. There's a lot of professional courses out there, okay, online, where you can just sign up and you can upskill yourself in science career. Okay. So as you know, a degree will actually get you an interview, but a portfolio, okay, your portfolio is actually your background, your experience. It will actually get you the perfect job in the STEM. Okay, so basically, in order for you to involve in career, first, you have to pick a field. What field you want to, that really interests you? Engineering, innovation, or natural science? Okay, you pick a field and then survey about the field. You can certainly survey about any field by asking Mr. Google. Okay, or else you can also survey about your field from the expertise out there. How do you want to identify the expertise out there? Certainly you can ask Mr. Google, who are the experts in your field? So Mr. Google will certainly give you a list of professionals where you can really email them, okay, get in touch with them through Facebook or through their social media. Ask them some questions, how you actually think, what is their point of view about the field that you are choosing. And look up for STEM education and start enroll in it. So pick up the right course, slowly build up your portfolio. If there is a secondary school student out there, first, make sure you enroll, study well in your science, enroll in science-based stream, okay? And then once you have completed your Form 5 or Form 6, try to identify which field is actually interests you. Technology, okay, or life sciences. Try to identify that. And then try to study about the field and then get in touch with some professionals that really involved in the field for 20, 30 years. There's a lot of Malaysian out there, professional Malaysian out there who are really willing to help you, to let you know what is the field is actually is all about. Okay, so from there, slowly, okay, you can't build a portfolio overnight. It will take probably 5-10 years. Okay, so slowly you will actually build your portfolio. Okay, besides that, in order to encourage girls or women to involve in a STEM career, the educational institution or any organization should actually create a conducive environment for their girls or for their employee who actually involving in STEM. Okay, and we also have the public. Okay, basically the public, there's a number of public, I'm sure in the YouTube there. You should actually support the organization who actually organizing STEM related workshop. For example, okay, the very close to me is RC. Actually, RC, I'm not promoting here, but RC are really doing a good work in promoting STEM. So you must support. So how are you going to support those organizations actually who really coming up with a lot of program in RC? You sign up for their competition, sign up. Be a participant, okay? That is how you actually support this organization. Or else, you can also sign up in a national club, okay? And national club out there should also think of STEM-related activities. So those, those members in national club actually can really involve in those activities, and this will actually indirectly enhance their interest in a STEM, okay? Other than that, some industry, I'm not sure whether if you have an industry out there or not, companies can develop STEM-related summer program, okay, where you can collaborate with different industry. Private industry can actually engage with universities lecturers and come up with a program. Or university lecture, it can be vice versa. And university lecturers can also engage with company and come up with a program, summer program, because we don't want our kids, our children, whether it's girl or boy. Okay, basically here, since we are talking about girls, we don't want our girls to actually, stay at home playing with their gadgets. We want them to, to learn something during their summer program. So engage them. We can actually develop a program. Companies or university lecturers together with the companies can actually develop a program for summer camp and encourage these these girls to actually participate in that program in STEM. Okay. Beside that, what you as a girl can do, sign up for any STEM-based activity. Okay, you can just Google search STEM-based society in within your coverage area. So sign up and then join. Probably they will also give some newsletter where you can learn some science fact from there. So that will also encourage the girls to actually involve in career, STEM-based career. Other thing, broadcast media. Okay, the role and responsibility of the media. Broadcast the existing women in science, those who have done some achievement. When you broadcast them, the girls or the women, they know, wow, this person is a woman who has achieved a great innovation. Okay, so when the media has taken the role, so most people will know, I mean the public will know that women have done a great job in STEM. So why not some of young girls there take up this as a motivation for them to involve in STEM. Last but not least, of course, we can celebrate girls and women in science. Yesterday we celebrated. Okay, probably you can just scan through your WhatsApp message and how many of your friends really wish you, okay, happy International Women in Science. Okay, probably you can check your WhatsApp now. How many of them have really post Facebook messages to wish all of you, okay, out there who is in science. So check it out. So this is a way or channel to to encourage the girls and women to involve in STEM career. So how to become successful in STEM career? Okay, there's a lot of way to become a successful person in STEM career. Okay, for your future. First of all, you must think what I've done today, what I've achieved today. That is the most important thing. So if you can fulfill your daily objective and daily fulfillment, I'm sure that by 5 or 10 years, you will have a better future in your STEM career. As my career in STEM, always remember, get a mentor to guide you, okay? Get a mentor to train you, to advise you how for you to step into your career. Because without a mentor, probably imagine that you are left, you was pushed into a big ocean and you have to learn to swim on your own. We want to cut short the time. So in order for you to cut off the time, get a mentor. For those who are in a stepping zone into a career field, those who have graduated, probably in completed your degree, first thing that you need to do is not to apply for a job at the moment. Best get a mentor to advise you. Discuss with them a better way, a sustainable way to look for a job. With their advice, start putting in application in STEM, those who have have decided what are the fields that you want to involve. And then on and off, if annually, always meet with your mentor, discuss your challenges, get some input from them, how to overcome the challenges. Then from there, you will have a better career. You will have a successful career. Other than that, you can also participate what we call this at job shadowing. Okay, this job shadowing probably a new term for all of you, but I really encourage this because by involving in job shadowing, you will actually learn the real life story of particular professionals. Okay, let's say you want to become a scientist. Okay, get in touch with the scientist, or ask some advice from your mentor to whom you can really actually join. Follow them throughout actually probably for one day, so that you can actually learn the real life experience of that particular professional. With that, you will know the real story, okay? Real story of the life of a scientist. Probably if you all want to join me, you will know the real story of a plant scientist, okay? So with that, you can actually fix your puzzles of your career. And finally, once you have completed your puzzle, you will become successful in STEM career. I think that's all for now for today. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Back to you, organizer.
Thank you, Dr. Umayo, for your review and feedback. I believe now most of us have a better view about the STEM careers. Thank you, Doctor. Next, I would like to introduce our second panelist, Ms. Anushiya Krishnan. Ms. Anushiya Krishnan has extensive, Ms. Anushiya Krishnan has extensive experience in integrating digital technology to solve business challenges and deliver value to customers. Her company focuses on implementing tools and technologies in digitalization, particularly in the area of digital process automation. Ms. Anushiya is an executive committee member of the National Association of Women Entrepreneurs of Malaysia, or known as NAWEM, where she handles special projects such as the IR 4.0 and the Future of Work and Technology Leadership for Women conferences, the project on promoting 21st century gender-related labor practices in Malaysia, and the data for her workshops. Without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Anushiya.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I have taken a slightly different track. I thought I would tell you about how I progressed in this STEM industry and what it means to me, yeah? So I have, the title of my presentation is STEM, Present and Future. And the reason why I put present is very, very important. It's a gift, as well as this is what we are in now, right now, yeah? So my name is Anushiya Krishnan. I'm a business owner. I have a tech company. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, hi there. I'm the CEO of a tech company. And when I was in school, my favorite subjects were maths and physics. Now, truthfully, why I liked maths and physics, particularly maths, was, you follow a formula and you just follow and you do things the way the formula tells you to do, you will get the answer. There was no, there was nothing that I really had to worry about. And I liked physics because to me, it explained things. Why did something happen? It was like magic for me. So I then went to university and I studied computer science. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If you ask me, why did I study computer science? It's because, people told me that I can make a lot of money. And that was my motivation. Actually, I had really very little understanding of what I was getting into. Now, when I finished my studies, of course, my first job was as a systems engineer. What a systems engineer does, or at least what I did, was I was working with an American technology company. And my job was to understand all the products that the company was marketing. And I do the presentations, I do the demos, I handle the support. Yeah, so that was my first job. Now, once and along the way, actually, a few of my friends actually were already in a company, and they invited me to join the company as a shareholder. Again, this was something very new. I've been an employee, I've never been a business owner. So I joined them and we started the first company, my first company. It was in training. And again, it was all very computer related. We used to train people on software development, and so forth. So that was my first company. Then I decided to go and do my MBA because I thought that, look, if I'm going to be a business person, I better learn how to be a good business person. I need to know finance and so forth. So then I came back and I started my second company, which was also in technology. Now, currently, it's my third company that I want to talk to you about. Next slide, please. Now, what does my current company do? And this is where it gets very interesting. What I started, what I learned, and what I'm doing right now is quite different. Yeah, but there are, of course, some basic fundamentals which will always remain the same because it's still computer technology. So what does my company do today? We help to create citizen developers. For many of you, this may sound very new. What is a citizen developer? I'll tell you very shortly, but I just want you to focus on the pictures. Superwoman, yeah? So let's see, what do these citizen developers do? Next slide, please. Okay, so citizen developers, these are just normal business users. I've put a picture of a bunch of people, someone with looks like a doctor, could be a financial person in a company who handles some HR and so forth. So citizen developers, and this is exactly what we're doing. Yeah, this is what my business does. We have a platform, we roll out this platform, and we train business users, non-IT people, to develop their own applications. And this non-IT person who uses the tool, who develops applications, we call them citizen development. This was coined about 4 or 5 years ago. And since the pandemic, especially, in 2020, this is now taken a different focus. Yeah, it's become much more interesting that non-IT people are able to develop their own application. They're able to automate their own processes, whatever it is that they're working on. So if you look at some of the publications like Forbes, Gartner, and so forth, it's now become imperative. Making apps is becoming a generic business competency, meaning that, even if you are a finance person, you're an accountant, you're a HR professional, when you go to the job market today, this might be something that you might be required to know that, yes, I can develop an app, I can use a tool, I can create my own website and things like that. So the environment has changed tremendously, and particularly over the past 2 years, the pandemic has given a big boost to this whole space. Yeah. Next slide, please. So the point I would like to emphasize is the landscape has changed completely. What I studied in university, I was a programmer. We learned programming languages and so forth. But what I'm very excited about is what I have learned to think is still remains the same. And what we are using today, mobile phones, and how we use our tools and how we consume technology, that has changed tremendously. Next slide, please. So if you ask me in terms of just for myself, what skills was very useful for me, or what skills do we look for when we employ somebody, or the kind of people that work with us? The first, of course, very, very important, the ability to think out of the box, critical thinking, yeah, because we are looking at solving problems, we are looking at addressing challenges. So, and challenges always change, they don't remain the same. What we were trying to solve 20 years ago is very different from what we're solving today. So the ability to problem solve, to understand, to think, design thinking, what Dr. Umayo mentioned, design thinking, these are skills that are very, very important. And for me, that's what really made me very grateful that I did computer science, because it taught me how to think. And creativity, yeah, if you are not creative, you cannot bring creativity to the table, then you would have a problem. And obviously, all of this is together in a teamwork. Now, just to share with you, my team currently, what are the types of backgrounds that they have? In fact, just to share with you, I'm the only computer science graduate in my company. Yeah, I have someone from food technology. I have an engineer. I have a physics teacher. I have an English teacher. Yeah. So despite their different backgrounds, we are all able to contribute and make the projects that we work on a success. Yeah, because we bring different talents, different skills to the table. So so that, I think, is very, very important. Yeah, if every one of us thinks the same, we are not going to solve any problems. Yeah. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to also share with you all, I believe that many of you are university students, and for women in Malaysia, women in STEM, and I use the word present again because I want to reiterate, this is happening right now. This is not the future. This is the present, okay? And it has changed, the landscape has changed, and just want to share with you some success stories, yeah, of women who have made a name for themselves. The first one is my good friend Sharala Exred, yeah, and Shah is also a business owner. She has a company called the CADS, the Center of Applied Data Sciences, okay, and she was the EY Entrepreneur of the Year for 2017. Yeah, and if you notice, she's also been identified as strong women in IT. Okay, there are about 200 women, and she's this is a global publication. All right, so you have women who are very strong, who are very successful, and I also want to tell you, we have moved away from the white coat. The women today are very dynamic, they're very powerful. They are very vocal in what they stand for, and also very attractive. Yeah, so no longer the white coat engineers or hard hat engineers. Yeah, so the second person I would like to talk about is C.Y. Hun, who is the founder of a company called Juris Technologies. Now, again, she is the Female Entrepreneur of the Year for EY in 2018. Yeah, again, a very successful woman. She is involved in fintech. Shah is involved in data science and fintech. So again, these are all STEM fields. I believe Shah's background is as an engineer. Wai Hun's background is in computer science. So, so you have two women who have already made a big name for themselves, not just in Malaysia, they are also globally. Now, the third person is Go Ai Ching, and her company is also a global company. It's a company called PictoChart. Yeah, I'm sure if you go in Google PictoChart, you will see what the product is that they are marketing. And Go Ai Ching is the EY Entrepreneur of the Year for 2016. So again, all of these women do act as mentors. They do act as sponsors and so forth. So we women who have become successful actually take pride in giving back and helping other women. So the most important thing that I think that we bring to the table is diversity. And just what Dr. Nora said, don't ever let anybody tell you you're not good enough, yeah? Because the working environment is very, very different from the study environment. I mean, in school, we have no choice. If you want to have a career in STEM, you have to do the science, you have to do the maths. And, it's not necessarily as exciting, but when you come to the working environment, it's completely different. Like for instance, in order for us to design a solution, we need someone who has a very good artistic background. So we have people who are creative. Yeah, we have content creators. We have people who create good graphics, animation. We have user experience designers, and I think women fare very well because we have the ability to, empathy is a very useful tool because we have the ability to put ourselves in the shoes, at least that's very true for me, of the end user and see how the end user will look at things, right? So that's a very good skill. And, it's definitely has a place in the science, technology, and engineering and mathematics field, yeah? So next slide, please. Okay, so for me, what is STEM? STEM is actually a way of thinking and doing to solve challenges. That's exactly what I think is. And as I mentioned to you, what is important is it helps me to firm up my skills of design thinking, engineering, problem solving, critical thinking, yeah, and being able to work in a team. Okay. So, and the environment has changed tremendously from when we started. And, today it is not an option for you any longer. Moving forward, that the world is going to be, it is not just it's going to be, it has been it's very different. In 2020, when we start talking about digital transformation, companies are not very keen because it's very costly and it will change so much. But lo and behold, the pandemic hit, and what happened? Those who were using pen and paper couldn't go back to the office for months, and that impacted payment of salary and so forth. But my company, no problem. Everything was online. It was very easy for us to work. We were already using Zoom because that's how we communicate with our partners outside of Malaysia. So it was a very easy transition. So my point to you is this has already happened. So it's not an option. You have to embrace it. This is the current and the new normal. Next slide, please. Okay, so if you ask me, in conclusion, what I would like to say is, as a woman in the tech business, I have a very satisfying and rewarding career. Honestly, I'm not saying this just for the presentation. I love what I do because I get to do many different things. I solve different problems, and to me, that keeps me happy in my job, and I really get to do a lot of fun things. What does the future hold? I'm sure you've heard of this metaverse, whether you've watched a movie, but this is a reality. The metaverse is here to stay. A lot of companies are investing in it, and this is something that is going to be very much talked about. I'm sure you've heard of artificial intelligence. Again, this is not the future, it's already the present. There is something called NFT, non-fungible tokens. Again, this is something that's becoming a way for a lot of people to earn a lot of money, right? And I'm sure you've heard of cryptocurrency, which is using the blockchain technology. So these are things that are very much in the present, and we will have to embrace it. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much. The next slide. All right, just to say thanks. And, I am a mentor, and, what I do in NAWAM is actually, I work on a lot of programs, except that since we are an entrepreneurial association, our focus tends to be very much to help women in business move into or apply technology in their business, right? So I'm happy to answer any questions later. Thank you, Fatiha.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anushiya, for the wonderful remarks and also your sharing. Without further ado, I would like to introduce and welcome Dr. Morgana Darshini Gangaya. Dr. Morgana is a data scientist with ideas to solve problems using big data analytical techniques, namely machine learning, deep learning, data mining, statistics, database development and management, and many more. Her field of expertise is on health informatics to discover knowledge on disease-based prognosis, diagnosis, and treatment benefits using machine learning algorithms. Let's hear from her. Over to you, Dr. Morgana.
All right. Thank you so much, Fatiha, for the introduction. And good day, everyone. I'm glad to be part of this webinar, and thanks a lot to the organizers for providing such opportunity. All right. So I was requested to share my experience on how I became data scientist and how I completed my PhD at the age of 26. So I'm here to share my experience to inspire you guys. So hope it will go well. Okay, so to start with my student journey, I'm from Tamil Primary School from Kulai, Johor, from Malaysia. So that is south of Malaysia, right? Okay, and then I continued my secondary school also from Johor. And I would say my experience during my primary and secondary school, I love to participate in competitions, especially to develop my soft skill and also leadership, apart from the education. Of course, in each family, the parents, they will encourage the students, encourage their children to focus on education, only education. And I had the same support from my parents and family as well to focus on my education. And I was quite a good student. Yeah, I would say average student in my primary and also secondary school. At the same time, they gave me the opportunity to participate in soft skill related competitions as well, such as public speaking, debate, and so on. So that's when I started to develop my soft skills, yeah, apart from education. So I would say not only science, but at the same time, to deliver a particular information, not only a data scientist, it can be anyone in STEM. So we need the soft skills, yeah, to deliver an information in a proper way so that they can extract the knowledge from us. I always believe in a statement that whenever we acquire something from our studies or from someone else, it's not good to keep it to ourselves. Yeah, it's always good to share with someone so that they will grow as well. So that's what I follow throughout my journey. And then and I was a pure science student from science stream, where I studied the subjects, all the science subjects, chemistry, biology, physics, additional mathematics, and so on. And when I entered my foundation in matriculation, I was also in the same science stream. And I must say that I had no knowledge on programming. Yeah, but now I am a data scientist. So you will be surprised when I explain to you how I become data scientist with no knowledge on programming till my foundation. Yeah. So after my matriculation, I entered University of Malaya for the Bachelor of Science in Bioinformatics. Okay, so bioinformatics was really an emerging field at that time in the year of 2014. Yeah, I entered in 2014, and bioinformatics is a combination of biology, computer science, and mathematics, where we will apply computational analysis on biological data. So when we talk about the biological data, it comprises of genome data, healthcare, life science, and so on. So it was really new to me. And when I entered the first year, I couldn't catch up on any subject of this computer science and programming. It was really tough for me. And my everyday thought will be like, how am I going to complete these 3.5 years in this bioinformatics? Oh my God. So I can't cope up with this programming, computers, and so on. But then no choice, right? So I have enrolled, and it's not good for me to step back. I have to complete this. And I did some research on the significance of this bioinformatics. So how about the future career in this field, and how this bioinformatics will help me in the future? And I found that in 5 years' time, yeah, I read somewhere, I don't really remember where is it, but in 5 years' time, at that time, 2014, in 5 years' time, this bioinformatics, this big data, and this data science is going to rule the world. Yeah. So I decided to continue, and I managed. Somehow I managed the 3.5 years, and I was focusing on my examination. Okay, I must get A to get good pointers. Yeah. So if not, like, it is difficult to get a good job without a good pointer and so on. And after the 3.5 years, I managed to get my first class degree. Yeah. I passed with distinction. And then at that time, I was thinking of continuing my studies, whether to continue with masters or, but I was not in an idea of finding for a job. So at the same time, my final year project supervisor, Professor Sarinder Kaur, she is also a woman in science. So yeah, so she's from computer science background. She encouraged me to continue the next stage of my life with research and development. So she's the person who introduced me to the research world. So she said, bioinformatics is more towards analyzing data and producing something, extracting knowledge from the data. So why not we involve in research and development so that we can learn more on how to develop the field, and I'll get more experience rather than just jumping into a job directly, right? And I must agree that in that 3.5 years time, I didn't grab the programming or the data analytical skills completely. I needed more experience before joining a job. So I decided to enroll into my PhD. So I skipped master's. So that was a fast track program, and I enrolled into PhD. So we collaborated with breast cancer research team in University Malaya Medical Center. Yeah. So I started my data science journey in PhD, and I completed in 3 years. So in that 3 years time, in my PhD journey, I learned a lot of things. So not only programming, I learned the importance of programming in other fields, the importance of this STEM, the importance of this computer science to be implemented in other fields, so that this data science or computer science is actually something which can be embedded in any domain. It is useful to any domain in this world. So the domain that I involved was on healthcare. So after completing my PhD, I was given an opportunity to work as a science officer in University Malaya Medical Center as well. So there, I learned more on the data analytics, especially on healthcare data management, how to manage the data and then produce predictions on disease prognosis and diagnosis and so on. At the same time, I also had the experience of working with clinicians and also IT personnel in UMMC. Yeah. Okay. And then now, I am a data scientist in CADS, Center of Applied Data Science. Yeah. And while I was continuing my studies from my primary to PhD and then starting my job in UMMC, I didn't know that the skills that I acquired in each stage of my life has been compiled to make me as a data scientist. I didn't know previously. Okay, I acquired this programming skill. I learned this database management and development. I enhanced my mathematical and statistical skills, machine learning, data visualizations, and so on. At the same time, I didn't give up on my soft skills to deliver something. So during my PhD journey, I was also assigned as teaching assistant in UM with my supervisor, and I worked as part-time instructor in School of Data Science, Perdana University. So as Dr. Umayo mentioned just now, building a profile is really important for a good career. So the professor there, he's Professor Asif Khan. So he said that, come here, we will help you to build your profile, not just a PhD. Do you want to build your profile? Come here, we will provide opportunities for you. So I joined their team, and then I became instructor and part-time trainer. I became the project manager. So it's a combination of the hard skills and soft skills. So now I would say that I have acquired and I am still in the learning process. Yeah, there is no end for learning. So I'm still in the learning process, and I can proudly say that this journey and the process where I acquired all these hard skills and soft skills have made me to become a data scientist. So to the youngsters, those who are listening to this story, I hope that this will inspire you. It doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, before I end my session, I would like to mention that in my slide, I didn't mention affiliations, but in explanations, yes, I'm just mentioning. But in my slide, I didn't mention any of my affiliations, but just the roles that I have been given. Yeah, the roles and also the hard skills and soft skills I acquired. This is because I always believe that it doesn't matter where we are. Yeah, it doesn't matter where we are, who we are, and what we can do is the most important thing that we have to remember. Yeah, so this is like my quotation, yeah, own quotation. All right, so thank you so much for listening, guys, and hope to have questions from you guys, and we will try to answer later. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. You are on mute, Fatiha. Yeah. All
I'm
right.
sorry, I didn't realize. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the great sharing, Doctor, and it's really inspiring. Moving on next, we have Miss Bharti Suresh Chan here to share her experience in the STEM field. Miss Bharti Suresh Chan is consultant pharmacist with 25 years of experience. And during the pandemic, when there was an acute shortage of sanitizers and disinfectant, she was inspired to formulate a composition that was effective, safe, and environmentally friendly. Her registered compounding lab, Global Age Pharma, based in Penang, has expanded and has diversified into many other areas such as sanitation services and OEM contracts. Let's hear from her. Welcome, Ms. Bharti.
Thank you so much, Fatiha, and a very, very good, is it morning now or is it afternoon? Hang on. A very good afternoon to everyone over here. Wow, it's been splendid hearing from all the panel speakers. Yeah, I think I've got very little to share. Yeah, so 25 years in the pharmacy industry, graduated as a pharmacist. Never knew that after 20 years, I would be using the scientific angle of this degree. Never. All right, graduated because that was what was expected from us. I come from a very small town in Butterworth, used to help my dad in a carpet business. We used to wash carpets and never thought that this journey would change for us. Now, as during the younger days, we didn't have an option to choose. Am I going to go to art stream? Is it going to be science stream? It was all automatic. Just go in, do the science, get into Form 6, get into a local university and just get a degree, and then we see where your future takes you. So we used to just follow that. But I want to highlight something very different from our panel speakers here, because I can't speak as what they have shared. They've got that ocean of knowledge. I'm just going to share the myth and the conception that we women have when it comes to STEM. Now, there was a survey that was done in Malaysia for STEM careers, and they found out that there is a decline in students who would like to pursue their career in STEM education. Now, there was a survey, and the survey shows that 45.2% of secondary school children aged 17 went into STEM science stream, and this declined to 43.7% in 2019. Now, when the survey was conducted and they asked the students, why is the drop? They felt that they were not fit to do STEM. There was a differentiation between, oh, I'm a woman, or that's something that's meant to be for men. So this myth and misconception remains in many of our students today. And when another question was asked, 90% of those who went into STEM careers, all right, into the science stream, only took it because they were told to do it. oh, I'm supposed to take science stream because I'd rather be safe. I don't know what I'm going to become. What if I choose chemistry or biology and I don't have a science base? So 90% actually did science stream because they wanted to remain safe, but they did not turn that into their careers. So what I'm highlighting over here is, as much as we know STEM is so crucial and important, it's basically the foundation to whatever career you're in today. You talk about psychology, you need to have science data and information to actually be a good clinical psychologist, perhaps. If you're talking about healthcare industry like myself as a pharmacist, for 20 years, I was applying the knowledge of medicines when I was dispensing them to patients. Never did I know that just in a year, I would have to go back to all the pharmaceutical ingredients, learn the pH, learn the pharmacokinetics, and start formulating something like a scientist in my very own lab. So what I want to highlight to all the students over here is, go all out and live your dream. Just like what Nora has said, just like what Ms. Anu has said, and all the speakers here have shared. Do not allow time to define your STEM career. It may not come 20 years earlier. It may come at a later age, but that knowledge that you have, the passion that you have, whatever certifications and whatever postgraduate studies that you can do, add it on to your CV, because one day you are going to need the STEM education contents to be what you want and to pursue what you dream of doing. Now, I'm also a trainer. So when I was thinking of STEM, how does STEM really help me in being a good trainer? So Dr. Mogana also shared soft skills. When you're talking about soft skills and hard skills, you cannot separate these two. They come hand in hand. Look at Miss Anu. Miss Anu, I look up to her because there are very, very few women who have gone into IR4 and into technology. But she has that soft skills as well. She has been my mentor. We were together in a Tech for Her mentoring program. So can you imagine how far you can go if you have the hard skill and the soft skill together? Because you need the soft skill to support your STEM background, your STEM education that you have, and how much you want to pursue and break that glass, break it. And women, you have to shine. So students, don't let anyone tell you, and this is especially for all the women students and the women teachers, any one of you here, don't let the man or anyone tell you you cannot do what it's not normal. You can get into any of this industry, live your dream, and STEM is definitely the foundation in any career, in any path that you choose. So that's my sharing basically. So if you are interested in the pharmaceutical industry, so I chose the community pharmacy line, but you have the research industry, you can be an academician in the scientific field, you can be a scientist talking about vaccines today, talking about new drug discovery. So there are many diversifications in any basic degree that you hold, right? And I think as much as we may want to run away or we may feel, oh, this is not my field or it's tough, let me remind you all students, you need science, you need engineering, you need technology, and you need maths. If not as a career, to manage your life, definitely. Can you imagine being a CEO and somebody great in your company one day, but you can't do simple maths? You don't have the basic STEM knowledge to guide you through, to push you, to break the barriers to be who you want to be today. So I've taken this from a very different angle. So I believe it's not about science stream or art stream. You can start off with any stream that you want to, but please pursue that passion, pursue that dream, and along the way, find your niche, because we cannot run away from science, engineering, technology, and maths. So that's my take for today to all you students. Do what you want to do it, be the best in it, and shine because Malaysia needs more women in the STEM career. We need to bring these numbers up. Don't let the men tell you that this is not your area. We can also be the same And let's have this gender equality today in this country. After going through this pandemic, I think we all have an equal playing ground, right? So thank you very much. That's my take for today. So back to you, Fatia.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bharti and all the other speakers. I hope you have acquired a lot of information about STEM from various perspectives. We hope to make this even more meaningful with questions and answer session with you. Therefore, I would like to invite Dr. Mageswari Kudnasegaran, who is a senior lecturer at UPM and the managing director of SM3 Consulting, to moderate the question and answer session. Dr. Mageswari was also awarded as one of the most influential people in OSH Malaysia for 2021. Let's welcome Dr. Mageswari together with Dr. Nora Savage, TS Dr. Umayo, and Ms. Anushiya, Dr. Mogana, and Ms. Bharti for the Q&A session.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. An awesome section from speaker from Dr. Nora, Dr. Umara, Ms. Anushiya, Ms. Bharti, as well as from Dr. Mogana. A great sharing from global perspective and also local perspective from a nation. And we already listened from various angles of dimension how STEM will make a leap to the women career path. So let's go to the question Q&A section. My name is Dr. Mageshwari. I'm from UPM, specifically focused on talent development. So we are focused on career development, talent development, and also succession planning in the career path. Okay, let's move on to the first question. The first question goes to Dr. Nora. What are the challenges faced? Could you hear, Dr. Nora?
Yes, I can.
Okay, then. What are the challenges faced by women who are keen to explore in STEM from a developed country perspective, Percy?
The challenges will be, so some of them were mentioned by our great speakers. It was great talks. There could be people coming to you and saying that, you know, they could be personal, where someone's telling you that you shouldn't be in this field or you can't do it. Some people mentioned technical challenges where, okay, is this science too hard for me? Can I do it? But you can't, you know, everyone needs, at some point in life when they're studying something, they may need some help. So you can always find someone who can tutor you, someone who can help you get that piece of that, you know, that aspect or whatever, that study that you're trying to get. The challenges could also be challenges that you internalize, where you say, well, I'm not sure this is for me. And again, someone mentioned, well, why don't you do a walk along with someone, you know, and see what that job is and see if it's really something that speaks to you. So these challenges that you will face, and again, there are people that will just try to, you know, look at you and because you're female and, you know, be a little hostile. So just be prepared. You know, someone mentioned, we mentioned mentors. You want to have that mentor. In another talk, I talked about champion. You want to have a champion. A champion is someone who, no matter what you do, no matter where you are in life, they will go, rah, rah, go, you can do it, you can do it. That's a champion. You have someone like that. No matter what obstacle you face, you can get through it. And then you also, in my opinion, you want someone who's a peer or what I call a colleague. So someone that is going through the same career or the same type of career or something similar. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but you're at the same steps and the same level. So you can feed off each other. You can bounce questions off each other. You can bounce experiences off each other and learn from each other and help each other to sort of go through hand in hand, especially if you're going to an especially tough, say, curriculum is some university where it's a little bit hostile, or if you're going, say you want to go abroad to study, bringing that person along with you, someone from your hometown who gets you, who understands what, you know, where you are, where you come from, what you like to do, who likes what you like, that is invaluable, because that speaks to that spiritual, you know, that spiritual sort of being in tune, as I mentioned. And then finally, I would say someone mentioned, yeah, I'm so glad they brought it out. You have to have those soft skills. I can't tell you how many engineers, you know, men and women who can't write, who can't speak. You have to develop both sides of your brain, the technical side and the art side. Think about, writing a poem, music, we all like that. You might like, doing exercises, whatever that is that gets your sort of your creative juices going. Make sure you incorporate that in your daily routine, as well as doing those technical exercises, and as well as having that sort of spiritual feeding, so that all aspects of your life are well-rounded. And then, any challenge that comes, whether it's an outside challenge from some person, whether it's a technical challenge from a school, whether it's a challenge that you experience has sort of been internalized, you can meet it, you can overcome it, and you can move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Nora, for insightful sharing. Yeah, challenges is one of major barriers for women, whether it comes from internal or external. Let's ask from Miss Anushiya. Since Miss Anushiya have a 3 organization, and I'm sure she's been going through a lot of challenges to become a real entrepreneur. Besides, she's having a strong willpower. We could see from her personality, she's quite energetic. And then what kind of challenges you have faced, Miss Anushiya, to become an entrepreneur in a digital world? And besides, what will be your suggestion? Because one of questions comes from a chat box. Let me read these questions for you. I'm worried if a computer science would be too hard for me. Are there any advice, madam? Or would they see if they think, because when we are studying and we are working 2 different platforms. So when we are studying, we're thinking, oh, being a computer science or learning in a computer science would be nice, would be marketable. But when they join in industry, they could face a different scenario. So what will be your take up for this, Ms. Anushiya?
Hey, thank you for the question. And well, let me put things into perspective. I'm not a great programmer. I love puzzles, as Dr. Nora mentioned. I really like puzzles. If you ask me, can I write an entire program from start to finish? Yeah, no, I would do a certain part and then I would get, bored. So yeah, seriously, I'm not making this up, but I do enjoy problem solving. So let me give you from my perspective. Now, when I study, we study to work for somebody else. We don't study to go and set up our business, right? So we are trained to think as employees. And that's exactly what happened. So when I joined my first company, I was, say, 10% shareholder. And somebody mentioned, that, I mean, for me, the reality was all my business partners were men. So I had to go for meetings, shareholder meetings, directors meetings, right? And actually, I had no clue. Yeah, there was no training, nothing. And I went in, sit for a board meeting, and the guys start talking about certain things, and I'm feeling like, oh, like a dumb blonde. And I hate being a dumb blonde. Yeah, I always feel that, I am a smart girl. I need to be able to speak well and speak intelligently. So I really felt very, very bad in that circumstance, because we all seem to know what they are doing. Hence, that's why I decided to do my MBA. And my MBA was in entrepreneurship, because I thought that, look, if I'm going to be a business person, I better learn some business skills, right? Because I don't want to be this, token woman who sits on the board. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you something very interesting. The men on the table all sounded like they knew what they were talking about. When I was doing my MBA, I realized, no, they were just talking like they knew. They actually didn't know. There were many things they didn't know. But that's society, right? When you have a guy at the table, you talk like I'm an expert. And then later you think, no, he didn't know what he was talking about. He was just talking because that's what they do. And we women think that, oh, I don't know enough. I don't know 100%. I know maybe 50%. And I'm so scared to open my mouth. But, that's exactly the problem. Our confidence is always a challenge. And the first thing I would suggest that build up your confidence. And, seriously, no problem is unsolvable. I always believe I'm not creating a nuclear plant. I may eventually send a rocket to space, but at this point, that is not exciting for me. but we are not doing something that is unsolvable. Every problem has a solution, and we just need to think out of the box, talk to a few people, get ideas from them. And if you ask me, computer science is hard. Actually, the term computer science is, it encompasses such a whole range of studies, right? It's not just computer science. You can go to the business side of computer science, focus on computer informatics, or, there's so many different areas. Do you know that when I was studying, there was also something called computer technology, where you could actually go in and look at the engineering side. Yeah, you can fix computers, or you study about the technology that goes into devising chips and so forth. For me, that was not something that was attractive. Yeah, so I chose something that I would enjoy, which was the computer side. And like I said, there's a whole big spectrum. Yeah, and in terms of areas of specialization, today you could choose a niche in that whole spectrum that you are more comfortable with. Yeah, perhaps the person who asked the question, maybe she enjoys designing. Well, there is an area where we specifically talk about user experience. Yeah, web design. Dr. Nora, I saw in the list of careers you had web design. Yeah, that's another area altogether. So it's not hard coding, right? And if you ask me what we are doing in training people, we are not teaching them how to do C programming or C++. We're teaching them different tools. Even Dr. Morgana, I think if you understand what the tools they use for data science, it's different. Yeah, the spectrum is very different. So so what I would suggest is find out what all the universities offer in this particular space. There's so many different courses. If you need to, please go and talk to the various advisors in the university, because they are all very open. Go for an expo on careers. Yeah, they have a lot of career fairs. Do your marketing first, right? Not like as we just joined in, like what Bharti said. We just did what we were given because, that's all we knew. And, we said, oh, okay, I see, maybe I want a sports car after 4 years. Of course, it didn't happen, but, it's a nice way to decide on a career. I see how much money I can make. So that would be my suggestion. All right. I hope I answered the question. So if you need further info, I'll be more than happy to elaborate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Anushiya. That was like a sincere sharing point from entrepreneur. So when we are looking at her, see how calm, how well planned, do homework, and then look into the possibility and opportunity around us. We are not only waiting and looking into what will be begin, but we need to look for more opportunities. Let's ask to Dr. Umayo. Dr. Umayo, since your interests are very much keen in developing young generations in science perspective, what will be challenges when you are looking into the young girls, whether they're coming from secondary or university? So how would you bring them in a different scenario from university? I mean, in university, they are more concentrate on looking into like getting the higher point. They wanted to become the best students. So how you could bring them to different scenario?
Okay.
In
entrepreneur, is it?
No, in a many perspective, whether it's entrepreneur or being an innovator.
Okay, basically, okay, I just use the case study that I have with me. I've trained a group of refugee school children, okay. Initially, they was very insecure to communicate about their science fact on a stage, okay. But through creating awareness, motivating them, show some example how people really, not everyone are smart when they are on stage. They do some mistake, they do some error, but every day is a learning process. Okay, so every day is a learning process. So I create awareness to them, okay, motivate them, and finally they won a bronze medal in an invention competition in 2018. Okay, when it comes to university, yes, there are a group of students who really looking into getting a high CGPA. I was one of them. And there are also a group of students who really looking into solving problems. Okay. So what we can do is we have to like reshuffle these two category students in a team. So they can't work as their mindset. Okay, when you are categorizing all the CGPA concerned students in a group, so they will always work towards that. And those who always wanted to involve in problem solving or invention, they will focus on that that target area. But you can break this situation or this environment by mixing both type of student in a group. So when this happens, you really can achieve your objective, how to enhance female or women's in science, how you want to create, come up with the innovation. At the same time, how to get a better CGPA. Because whether you like it or not, you need a certificate. You need a degree, you need a pointer. But then how you want to work together with us, how you want to enhance a candidate with a better pointer and at the same time with a thinking or mindset in developing solution for any problem they are facing. Mix them together so they will develop simultaneously.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Umayo. Let's take up one more question from audience here. So audience was asking, what will be the best way to promote STEM to schools' children? Because some of them believe science could be boring and hard. Not everybody will be interested in expose themselves or participated in the competition. So what will be your advice to the how to encourage STEM in from the school environment? So whenever we have a competition, whether it comes from primary or either secondary, most of the cases only best students will be involved in one case scenario. The second, the students who are initiative by own, oh, okay, they think I want to be participated, but it's not in a big quorum. It's only 10% or 20% of students will be involved. So how we will encourage students, especially the young generations, to be participate more in a STEM? How we can make the whole learning environment look different? So maybe we can ask Dr. Morgana, since she is a very young graduate, and then she got a lot of stories behind of her journey from a student up to become a data scientist. So I'm sure you've been faced a lot of challenges. What would be your advice for the young generation, or how we could present the whole STEM in an interesting, in a fun way, that they don't feel the pressure of participating in any competition?
All right. So it's an interesting question. The suggestions that I would give is they will be more interested to participate in STEM related stuff if we give them some real life example which are related to them. We can demonstrate or we can explain to them in an easy way so that if they can relate what's happening around them, then they automatically the interest will be generated. Yeah, so I would suggest that would be the best thing. Or else technically children nowadays, they prefer to play games and then watch movies, watch videos and so on. And recently I've been doing a research and also a development on gamification of micro-learning contents. So now researchers and also some developers are also working on, it's a recent trend actually, also working on transforming the text-based, free text-based learning contents into gamification content by using animations, leaderboards and all those kind of elements. So this is also another suggestions for the educators or the schools or universities to attract them. Yeah, so these are my suggestions.
Thank you, Dr. Mohana. what will be Dr. Umaya's suggestion? How we can encourage the young generation? How would it make the whole scenario become interesting and fun?
First of all, probably the educator themselves can be excited with the science fact or science field or science topic they're going to talk about. And then, like what Morgana say, relate the science fact to the real life story. Or just throw out some problem solving question. Just create an open type of question so that will actually enhance their thinking skill. Okay, we don't actually teach them, but we guide them. As an educator, it's your responsibility to become a facilitator rather than spoon feed our young children. So throw a question to them, throw a problem-based question to them, and get them to come up with a solution. And as they come developing the solution, we can actually go into their discussion and enhance their thinking skill more and more. But so this will actually create the interest within them to involve or to concentrate in science-based learning.
Thank you, Dr. Maya. Dr. Nora, let's hear from you. What is your perceptions in terms of sustainability in a STEM? How you could see from developed country or helping us in Malaysia? What is your perception on a Malaysian development on a STEM? So what will be, what is the sustainability, the continuity program which we can bring a bridge between Malaysia and US or to other developed country?
The question is, how can you bridge
Build
between
the
US and Malaysia
yeah. How
to
we
make
can
sustainability?
Bridge? Yes, exactly.
Okay,
that's the question.
to enable sustainability within both countries?
Yes, exactly. That's the question, Dr. Nora.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think that there's several ways we can do that. One is to try to encourage more international research. I do try to encourage my PI, the investigators in my program, to collaborate, and I do that by holding international workshops. So I've had one Pan America that's been in Brazil that seeks to pair U.S. researchers with South American researchers. I'm working with Africa and trying to get African researchers to pair with the U.S. And so I think there's definitely opportunities within NSF and other agencies to pair researchers up so that we can have this scientific collaboration in sustainability areas, and then we can also support students so that the students can come and have that international experience as well. So that's one way. And another way is to engage in the societies that I think one of our speakers mentioned, where many of the societies have international component to them, or international pieces to their organizations. And so attending those, trying to build that dialogue and create that communication across, because we have to learn. We're not going to solve sustainability country by country. Pollution does not know boundaries. It doesn't respect boundaries. We have to work as a global society to attain sustainability and to attain environmental protection. And so I think there's definite ways between researchers, between collaborating with students, workshops, and as I said, the international societies, the professional societies, working together across those organizations is one way to do it. And maybe another one, I know someone here is a journalist working with journalism to get the news out there, to spread the word that, hey, this is a global issue. Let's work as a global society to do this, to solve these problems, to attain sustainability.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nora. And then that is the end of the Q&A sections today. Thank you, Ms. Anushiya. Thank you, Dr. Umaira, Dr. Nora, Dr. Morgana, and Ms. Bharti as well. So I pass button to Ms. Fatila again. Fatia, it's your turn. Okay.
I hope you had a good session today with us. Thank you for being a great audience. If you have any questions, drop us an email and we will revert back to you to the soonest. Thank you once again to our speaker, Dr. Nora Savage, our panelist, Dr. Umayo, Ms. Anushiya, Dr. Morgana, and Ms. Bharti, and our moderator, Dr. Mageswari, for being here today. We really appreciate sharing of your ideas today. Thank you very much and see you again soon. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you and bye everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nora.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. I
Ms.
learned a lot.
Anushiya.
It was
Thank you
great.
so much for being here.
Great session. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Mageswari.